Good evening. Welcome to Journey with Janine. I have a special guest today, and her name is Nita Stewart, and I would say she's not just a guest, she's a really good friend, and we've been friends for years. Thank you for joining us, Nita.
Well, finally I'm here, huh?
Yeah, you made it. We made it to Journey with Janine. Anyway, how I usually do the show is I like to talk about your journey on how you became you now. So when you were young, what kind of a life did you have? You were raised on a farm, or how did that?
No, I was raised in Iowa, but in the city of Waterloo.
Oh, you're kidding.
No,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
See?
I'm going to learn all kinds of things today.
Downtown, pretty much downtown Waterloo is where I grew up. About a block from church, St. Joseph's then. Now it's Queen of Peace, of course. So that's where I went to school. And they actually had a high school there, too, when I was young.
Oh, wow.
You
I
know,
didn't
grade
know that.
school, high school, all the way up to 12th grade before they built Columbus.
So you were parochial all the way.
Well, no, actually, the last 2 years I went to East High School.
Okay. You didn't stick with the parochial?
Well, no, I had a quite a deal with my mother about not going back to Columbus, but
That's funny. Two of my kids jumped out of Columbus, too. Not that that's relevant, but, certain people it fits.
yeah. Well, it fit me. I was a little difficult as a child.
I can't imagine that.
If my mother were here, you could ask her. She would definitely vouch for that.
I would describe that as very smart rather than difficult. Maybe you weren't being stimulated
Well,
enough.
I was looking at it in the eyes of my mother.
Okay. So what happened after that, after high school?
Well, I started training at Arthur Murray's. I had been working since I was probably, 12, weeding, doing all kinds of things, and working at restaurants and drive-ins, and I started training to be a dance teacher because the owner of the dance studio said I had talent. And I said, really, I have talent? That's the first time anybody ever said that.
Oh, that's neat.
And I did love to dance. So I was trained to be an Arthur Murray teacher, and I did that for a few years here, and moved off to Buffalo to the Arthur Murray studio in New York.
You did? How
I
cool. I didn't know
did.
that.
And taught there for a while.
So what brought you back?
Oh, I moved from Buffalo to Florida to California, and I decided to come back here to visit family for a while, and I stayed.
Well, there's nothing wrong.
I was gone 13 years.
13 years. Boy, you traveled a lot. What an interesting life.
Well, I did a lot of different things. It was fun. You know?
So you teach yoga. Let's go. Let's progress from there. Then you took some college, the Arthur Murray College.
Well, I learned Arthur Murray from the studios, actually. They don't have a college. You just train at the studios, and you have training from the managers and the teachers, and then you move to different studios and do training there.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I can really remember going to Chicago, to the Chicago studio, because they had such marvelous dancers in Chicago. Just wonderful to dance with.
Oh, that's
So
fun.
that was fun, yeah.
So what happened after the dance then?
Well, I worked in restaurants off and on too, because teaching dancing didn't really make much money at the time. So I needed to also to support myself. Kind of like an artist, you know, they have to
they
work
are.
in order to support their habit. Well, so did I. It was fun. And when I came back to Waterloo, I wanted to go to photography school. Couldn't get into school to do that, so I went to barber school. My sister said, go to barber school. I said, well, I don't know what else to do, so might as well. So I did that, graduated, and opened a barber shop and ran a barber shop for 20 years.
Here in town?
Here in town.
What'd you call it?
It was called Nita's.
Where was it at?
Barbery. Over on West Parker Street in Waterloo. East
Wow,
side.
I didn't know that.
East side.
That is really cool.
So I did that for a while until I finally, well, I didn't have to talk him into it. He said, go. I wanted to go to yoga school for 30 years. And finally, I did. I went off to yoga school for a month, and I had been teaching a little bit at the Y before that, and to fill in for teachers that were gone.
Yeah.
So I came back and started teaching at Covenant at the time and the YW.
So how old were
Downtown?
you when you went to yoga school?
I was 50 years old.
Good for you.
Yeah. Oldest student in class.
Well, you probably, with your dance background, that was a breeze for you.
Well, I did have movement. Yeah, it was easier than people who had never done anything like that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And it was really fun. It was very hard. Going to yoga school was very difficult. I
Why?
mean, it's from 5 o'clock in the morning, and I wasn't a morning person.
I'm not either.
5 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, 6 days a week. It was very intensive. They called it intensive, and it was.
Why was it so intense?
You got a lot to cover in 30 days.
Wow.
Yeah. You would start out in temple in the morning for about 2 hours of meditation and, well, different, things that you would learn. And then you would do your asana classes and then have breakfast.
All
that was
vegan? Was
that
it
was
all
before,
vegan?
Oh, yes.
Of
Well,
course.
wait a minute. They had ghee, and ghee is clarified butter, and that wouldn't be vegan. Definitely vegetarian.
So is ghee better than butter? I've seen that at stores.
Well, Ayurvedic medicine uses ghee as a medicine. And what you do is just take butter and you boil it. And it boils the milk solids out of it and separates it. So then you have the oil from the butter and you have the milk solids separately. And you use the oil and leave the milk solids behind.
And that's what ghee is.
Yes.
Is
It
the
doesn't
oil.
really taste like butter anymore. But it's actually much better for you than butter with the milk solids.
So what's in it that's good for you?
Well, it's a good type of oil to cook with.
Okay.
It can handle high heat cooking too.
Better than olive oil?
I can't say it's better than olive oil. I don't know. Olive oil is really good for us. I listen to a lot of Dr. Gundry podcasts right now, and he says the only reason to eat is so you can pour olive oil all over it and get lots of olive oil into your body. Only reason for food.
Olive oil. I love olive. I cook with olive oil.
Yeah.
I don't
do
even
too.
have anything else.
And aside from people thinking you shouldn't saute with it or have high heat with olive oil, not super high heat, you don't want to burn it, but high heat in olive oil is okay. You're not hurting to the olive oil, so he says.
Yeah.
Gundry.com is a wonderful resource for scientific information.
How do you spell that? G-U-N?
DRY.
Gundry.com. Okay.
Yeah, and he has a lot of podcasts, and he talks about research from all over the world as to particularly gut bacteria and how gut bacteria actually rules our lives. We think we're ruling our bodies. Gut bacteria rules ourselves. And he explains in detail, and he explains very easily, so anybody can understand what he's saying.
I see.
You know, it's
Oh, I'll have to look that up.
it's really a good education, and then from him, you just go here and here and here and here, and you learn all kinds of more stuff. Well, it's newer research. I mean, I started learning stuff like this 40 years ago, but you want new research, that's a good place, and Dr. Mercola too.
And there's other people that are involved in this. Oh, gosh, speaking of research, maybe this isn't the time to bring it up, but I just thought of this. Tanner has a site he went on, and this guy used to work for NASA and there are all these scientists that work for NASA, and he's telling about the extraterrestrials. And he was saying that this guy has come up with a mantra and a meditation where you can actually draw them in and they show up. I don't know why that popped up. Maybe I'm supposed to tell somebody out there about it, but I need to find out.
Is that James up in Washington? Oregon? Washington?
I don't know, but Tanner wants me to go out and meditate with him and see if we can do it. But anyway, next show I come on, I'll text Tanner before our next show so I can find out the name of it. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean
No, I
it
think
must have been important to talk about.
That's great. That's great. That's another place I went was up to a retreat in Oregon, and he has had a lot of photographs of little orbs floating around when they've had meetings and chantings, and it was pretty interesting stuff. I was there for a weekend. I didn't get a lot, but it was really pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, well, it sounds interesting. I'll have to let you know.
I would. I'd like to know.
So you do yoga, and it's funny. I got my doctorate at 50. You went back and got yoga at 50. There's something about 50, isn't there?
Well, better late than never.
Well-
What are you going to do now when you're older?
Yeah, have some fun. Keep learning, that's for sure. So you taught dance, and you went to college for a while, and then you are doing, which Nita got me involved in, the Young Living Oils. And I'll tell you, my dad is 97. He takes no drugs. I give him vitamins every day, and I put a different oil on him every day. And he's still going. Even though he's 97, he is walking with a cane now. But he's still going strong, and I swear it's because he's not taking any medicines, and I'm putting those oils and giving him vitamins every day. So, Nita, I want you to talk about it because you've been in the Young Living Oils quite a while.
Well, 20 years.
Well, that's a while.
Yoga 20 years, oils 20 years. Everything started about 50, I guess. You know?
It's like a wake-up area or something, huh?
Yeah. It was like, okay, it's time. Your dad just was driving until last year, too, wasn't
He
he?
was driving till he was 94.
94. That's a pretty good age to be driving.
95, one or the other, yeah. Till he ran the fence over.
Oh, I see.
Hit the gas instead of the brake.
I see. One accident and you take his driver's
I
license
know, it
away.
was terrible. Well, winter was coming on, so I go, let's try it again in the spring. And then he realized by spring he didn't want to drive again. So.
Yeah, that's good.
But that's amazing, really.
Well, you know, talking about oils, it was kind of funny because I used to go to a Dowsers, First Iowa Dowsers
done that
meeting.
too.
Did you do that? Did you ever go to First Iowa Dowsers? They used to have a meeting every other month somewhere in Iowa.
Yeah, I went to one out in the woods.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we would move around. It might be in Marshalltown once or up in northeast Iowa at somebody's farm or wherever. Anyway, it was kind of fun because you'd visit these other places. We did one at my house once, and we built a medicine wheel in my backyard at that
fun.
one. And some lady found this nice, long, big snake and started screaming. That was an interesting. Oh, don't be afraid of it. It's just a snake. Oh, don't touch it. It'll bite you. No, come on.
Don't bite.
Yeah, anyway, at a Dowsers meeting I went to, and this was at Willie Lansing's house over by Worthington, Iowa, and a lady was there for that meeting, and it was a whole weekend meeting, and she was teaching oils. So I missed the Friday meeting because I was working or doing something. Anyway, I got there Saturday, so I missed the first introductory of how not to use oils.
Jeez, I've never heard that one.
You always
I'm
want
doing
to
something wrong.
learn what not to do with them, like pour lemon oil in your ear.
No.
Just things I did because I never went to that first meeting. So I taught about oils for a while. Anyway, if you do happen to ever get oil where you don't want it and you start burning, just pour any kind of oil. I don't care what you have. Better extra virgin olive oil or a carrier oil like almond. Pour that oil like in your ear, dump it in your ear, and the
Or
burning.
skin.
Oil dilutes oil.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oil dilutes oil. Water makes it hotter.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so like you get a drop of oil in your eye and it starts burning. I know one fellow who was driving down and he wanted to stay awake, and peppermint helps to wake you up. So he went to put a couple drops of peppermint on his head, but the whole top came out of the bottle and the whole bottle poured. And he's driving down the highway and he's got peppermint oil running into his eyes. His eyes are watering and burning. And he did stop at a hospital and have it checked out. No damage,
No.
just burn like heck for a while. But if you did something like that, you would stop, grab your carrier oil, which you always have with you, and put that in your eyes to dilute it down, or your ears, or because I didn't learn that. These are just safeties. I was back problems. I was having pain in my back, and I thought, okay, I'm going to knock this out. So I took, and into my bath, I put oregano and lemongrass and hot oils. These are hot oils,
Yeah.
mind you, and you don't want to use hot oils like that. So, and then I sat down in the bath. Well, guess what? Oils don't mix with water. They lay right on the top of the water, and when your skin hits them, they hit your skin. And then you sit down in hot water, and all your pores open. And guess what? Your thighs start burning and yeah, okay. Ah! Get out of the tub. What do? Put olive oil or a carrier oil on and then the burning goes away. Just don't do that. If you ever want to put oils in a bathtub, you put them in your hand and add soap to them. Mix the oils with a good organic soap, right? A really good organic soap. Mix the soap and oils together, then put them in the water and they'll disperse through the water and not float on the top.
That's interesting. That's another one I didn't know.
Yeah, important things you should know. It's good to know what you're going to do because I consider oils medicines.
I do
I
too.
can't call them medicines. They don't allow you to do that. Medicines are drugs, so they say. So anyway, I consider them my medicines. And you need to learn how to use them. So I did classes for quite a while teaching people how to use them. And
Are you going to have any more classes?
well, if people would come, I would. You know,
Well,
it's just that, you know, if it's there, you don't take advantage of it if it's there all the time. So I just discontinued classes, and if they want to call me, fine. They want to email me, I'd be very happy to meet with them and help them in any way I can. But I'm not really pushing a business anymore.
yeah.
I
I
wanna help
know what you're
people.
saying. So if you're interested in the oils, I'll tell you what, she's a walking computer chip on this stuff.
Computer
Um,
chip.
There's Nita's on the screen there. There's Nita's email and her phone number. Besides that, our next show is going to be about her organic farming. She has produce. She's just an amazing woman. So if you have any questions about anything in health, call Nita as far as I'm concerned.
A lot of old wives' remedies I can help people with too, believe it or not. It's just like you got a really bad cough. I mean, these days a lot of people have had coughing, but if you have, say, bronchitis or something, and you just get this tickle in your throat and you can't quit coughing, which I did once, and this little old lady I was staying with at the time took a washcloth, damp, put it in the freezer. Why, I don't know why she put it in the freezer, but then she came and put it on my chest with vinegar poured on it. Any vinegar, it don't matter, white vinegar is fine. Put it on my chest, and I had been coughing for days with bronchitis. The cough medicine didn't work. And every time I laid down, I would just start coughing, so I wasn't sleeping. I put that vinegar on my chest, laid down, went right to sleep, quit coughing. Vinegar, simple as that. Just plain vinegar. So just little things like that.
I'm writing this down.
It works. It just works.
Well, and it's like let's see, the hydrogen peroxide that you buy from the store. My kids never had an antibiotic because I would put that few drops of hydrogen peroxide in their ear.
Do you dilute it down first?
No.
Oh, okay.
And it would just bubble out their ears if they had a bad infection. Then I had them do apple cider vinegar.
I recommend diluting that hydrogen peroxide down 50-50
Really?
because it's pretty hot when you use it full strength.
Well, it just bubble.
It works just as well 50-50. It won't burn as much.
And then apple cider vinegar, I made them gargle it and swallow it. And it would kill throat and ear infections. And chiropractic, of course, I've been going to a chiropractor.
And apple cider vinegar is an awesome thing to do for acid reflux. You think, oh, no more acid. It's the acid you need to make the valve close so that you won't have acid reflux.
Right.
So,
Oh, apple cider vinegar is good for anything. Takes off moles.
and get the raw apple cider vinegar, the good raw stuff like Bragg's or something. Not the boiled imitation, real apple cider vinegar with the mother.
Right.
Yes, with the mother in it.
Yeah, it takes off moles too.
Okay, didn't know that.
Yeah, my son-in-law had one on his face, and he put it on morning and night, and after a while it just fell off, and no scar. No scar, isn't it? Interesting stuff.
Yeah, there's just, if you know what to do, there's so many things you can do without buying pharmaceuticals or spending money going to the doctor.
Well, and the reason my kids never had antibiotics is because if they get a strep infection, I gave them grapeseed extract.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I give them a double dose in the morning and one the other day, and then boom, it'd be good. Now, real quick before, we only have 5 minutes left in the show, I want you to talk about Miracle 2.
Oh,
Because I love that too. I put that on my skin.
Miracle 2 is a product line that a fellow from Louisiana discovered, a formula written on his wall at 1 o'clock in the morning. Ooh, you.
You mean he was asleep or he woke up and wrote it?
Yeah, and he said Jesus woke him up,
Okay.
and this formula was on his bedroom wall. And he woke his wife up, and she couldn't see it. And he said, write this down. And she thought it was crazy for many years after that, actually.
No, I get that.
But she did write it down off the wall, and he took and he mixed this formula up in his kitchen sink, and it bubbled. And he said, well, he didn't know what it was, but since it bubbled, it must either be root beer or soap. Anyway, there's a long video on this. He's great. His name was Clayton Tedeton.
How do you spell that? C-L-A-Y-T-O-N?
Clayton Tedeton.
T-E-D.
Teton.
Tet or Ted?
T-E-T.
T-E-T.
E-T-O-N, I think.
Okay,
Tedeton.
well, I can look
Anyway,
it up.
he died a few years ago, but he's quite a hoot. Uneducated. He traveled the country in a motorhome for a long time saying, God, I don't know what I'm doing here. Show me what to do. And one day he woke up and saw this formula on the wall. They used it for shampooing carpets for a lot of years, the soap.
Because it's natural. It's
all-
not a soap, though.
There's soap and neutralizer.
Oh.
Yes, there is a soap.
Oh, you got to get me
That's
some of
the
that.
first thing he made was the soap.
Okay, I want to get some of that.
And it's just a natural organic soap. You can use it for anything. Anything that will handle water, like you don't want to put it on natural wood furniture and warp it, but you know, anything you can
Right.
use it. I use it for everything. I wash the cat, me, the dog, everything.
I never knew you never told me about the soap.
Well, I'm not keeping it a secret. I just don't like.
Okay. All right. So, and the gel is, you tell them real quick because we're coming to the
The
end of the
gel
show.
is another product,
I love this gel.
and you put it anywhere, and it actually neutralizes venom, like bee stings, wasp stings. You put it on a wasp sting, and it's like in 5 minutes, all the swelling's gone. It don't hurt. It's like, wow, what happened?
And what's in it real quick?
It's
Isn't it magnesium's in it?
Yeah, that too, and aloe. And the first ingredient is prayer in all the products. All Miracle 2 products, the first ingredient is prayer.
No, the power of prayer.
And all natural things, and it's just amazing what you can put the neutralizer and the gel right in your eyes. You got something in your eyes to help get it out. It's just, neutralizer alkalizes the body too, the liquid. There's a liquid
so
also.
it's alkaline, which is good too. I use it on my face. I
And
love it.
there's a natural deodorant stone that the company has too, and that's it. You know,
Well, I want to try those other things.
deodorant stone's the best deodorant stone I've ever used.
Well, they last for years too.
Believe it or not, honest to God, I'm not kidding. I have been using that deodorant stone for 20 years.
The one.
But I don't use it all. I don't need to use it all the time.
Well,
And
yeah.
I haven't dropped it and broken it.
Yeah, I've done that before, but
But
I
it's
didn't-
down to just not much
No,
of anything.
I need to get that too, so I'm going to get the stone and the soap.
And I would tell people it will last 2 or 3 years, and it's only $13.
But I've been using the hand soap to wash my carpets in my house because I can put it in my shampooer and it's all natural because my grandson plays there, so there aren't any chemicals in it. But we're coming to the end of the show.
Yes.
And thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to do another show with Nita that's going to be about organic farming. And again, you'll be amazed at the knowledge. I told her she needs to write a book, but maybe I can get her to do the one where you talk into the microphone and we'll get a ghostwriter for you.
Don't I have a microphone right here? I don't have to hold anything.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us with Journey with Janine.
Oh, thank you. It's fun.
Yeah, and thanks for joining us on TV. Goodbye. Have a nice day. God bless.